Morning, everybody. It's Debbie with the Pickin Coop Farmstead. I'm on my third video this morning in my PJs still, and I had to turn off my sprinkler out here. This is what I use for my garden. Hold on, I'll show you. This little tripod sprinkler, I think I got this from Tractor Supply. I did have to change the head on it. I don't know what the deal is with me and my sprinkler heads. But I wait till the sun gets off of it, and I only have to do it so far, knock on wood, probably every third or fourth evening, and I let it run all night long. So, yeah, you just want to make sure if you have to use a sprinkler, do it to where there's no sun on your garden anymore. So my goal today is I want to take out I had some little cabbage heads that didn't really come to fruition, and they're not going to. So I want to take those out and I want to feed those to the chickens, and in their stead, in their spot, I want to plant some parsnips. I'm not giving up on the whole parsnip thing. And I'm going to plant some radishes. We're trying to succession sow those radishes, so we'll get some every couple of weeks. There'll be a new crop. All right, come along. Let's do some more gardening. So first thing, I move my sprinkler over here out of the way. Then we're going to come around, and it's my cruciferous bed, the first bed on to the left of me. And there's a few cabbages that did not come to fruition. So I'm going to set my camera up here and point it the opposite direction. So right here, as you can see, this one's probably just about ready to harvest. I don't want to wait till it splits. It's a nice little size head of cabbage for me. This little guy right next to it is doing a whole lot of nothing. I'm going to cut it off at the ground. Take the little name tag out. This is just a little red cabbage. Nothing goes to waste. The chickens will get to eat that. I'm going to put it in the walkway here. And this one is trying to grow a second. The one next to it, interesting enough, is trying to grow a second head. Isn't that kind of nutty? That was a golden cabbage. Then we have another red cabbage. It was getting a little head, but I'm just going to call that good. I've got more red and golden cabbages sprouting in the house. They're actually almost ready to transplant into my their individual own solo cups. So yeah. All right, I've got two spots now. I've got this one's coming out soon. So I'm going to pull back my my pine straw. We'll make sure my camera's on, make sure my microphone is on. I've been really having a lot of trouble with that lately. I don't know why my brain. I told the mister, I said, maybe my kombucha has turned to alcohol. All right, so we're not anticipating any shade from this stuff. And yes, my cauliflower is going to seed, but that's okay. I'll just save the seeds from it. So I have room here for at least, I would say, a couple of rows of radish, parsnip, whatever I want to plant in here. So I am loosening up the soil. And, ooh, here's a nice little rock. Throw those out. Root vegetables don't like to grow around that kind of stuff. You got to keep the soil loose. Parsnips are long, like carrots. So I'm wondering if I should plant the parsnips here. And I'm going to kind of put a board over them like I do my carrots because I don't really want them to become dislodged with sprinkler, rain, all that kind of stuff. All right, so we've got our little area. Trying to get some of these rocks out, clods, whatever you. There we go. Everything is broke up, churned up. All right, so now that's a rock. We're going to get rid of that rock. All right, let me show you what I'm going to plant. Oops, wrong one. That's a radish. Okay, here we go. All right, so I have in my gardener, I have tried and tried and tried to sow these. They're 130 days to maturity. The germination temperature is up to 77 Fahrenheit. So you want to space, takes 14 to 28 days for germination. You're going to space these plants, let's see what it says, 3 to 4 inches apart. Plant 15 inches long, the plant is. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to try it again. I'm going to try the board method and I'm going to show you what that is. So let me put this over here. And we're not going to dig a trench and we're not going to poke them down in a hole. Now these seeds are quite a bit different looking than the carrots. I'll show them to you. I've never had them come to fruition and I think I'm burying them too far. So we're going to plant these. Maybe we'll just do one row. I don't know. Let's do two. So just put them on the surface. I'm probably planting them farther apart than I need it. But I just went and watched Jessica Sowers do her carrot video again. I watched it a couple times now. And I was doing the board method, but I was burying my carrots too deep. So I'm going to kind of use the same method on the parsnips. And I'm going to try putting them, actually I probably should put them a little closer together depth wise. And then what she does is she just kind of makes a divot in the ground, just pushes them down. I kind of want them a little closer together because I don't think my board is that wide. I might have to go find, I don't know, another board. All right, so those are pushed down into the ground. I got way too many seeds, but that's okay. I just put them right back in the pouch. I've got my little painter's tape on the back. Next thing I want to do is take my pencil. I want to erase radish. Oh goodness. Radish. Ooh, mosquitoes. Sprinkler must have stirred them up. All right, so I'm going to put parsnip. All right, and I'm going to put my tag at the beginning of this row. That way I know for sure that that's what is beyond, because eventually I'm going to be planting this. So I didn't really push these in. All right. Okay, now I'm going to go grab a board and I'll show you what we do with that. All right, this is kind of a long board. I think what I'll do is I'll just put that over everything. I'll probably have to kind of move my seeds over. I'm going to move my tag at the end of my board. All right, there we go. Okay, so all right, so the board is down there. I kind of moved the soil up against it. Normally you would gently water these in after you put the seeds in, but my soil is really damp because I just turned my sprinkler off this morning. So we're going to hope that that works great. So we'll see what happens there. All right, so in the opposite bed over here, this is where I want to put my, I've got some daikon radish. Excuse me. I've got some daikon radish, and I'm going to pull these weeds out. We're going to move the pine straw away. This is where my dill was. Let's move all this pine straw out of the way. I don't think that my yarrow and my marigold are really going to take over. Here's a leftover dill thing. I want to take that out. All right, so let's put all of this over. And then once everything sprouts back up, we can certainly add that pine straw back in there. But for right now, we're just moving it away from where we want to plant. And I'm going to break this soil up. It's easy to do right now because it's wet. Then if you find any rocks, take those out. Again, these are root vegetables. They don't like to grow around rocks. And being careful not to mess with my soaker hoses. I don't really didn't utilize them once I went on vacation because it's so much easier for the mister to water like this. All right, so here we go. We're going to flatten this all out. And I'll probably do, I think the other ones are China rose, which is kind of like a breakfast radish. They're long, red. All right. Here's a little pine cone. I imagine that got in here from a dang squirrel. All right, so there's that. Again, parsnips. I'm going to get a couple of my Hi, Stitchy. Stitchy's coming to visit. Let's see, a couple of my little whatchamacallits. Okay, so this one is called, it is a French breakfast. So I'm going to plant these And then I'm also going to do the daikon, which are the long white ones. So let's plant the daikon first. I'm going to I also have a new packet of those little white, I think they're called hailstone from M.I. Gardner radishes, which I absolutely love. So I'm going to wait another couple of weeks and then I'll plant those. So this is going to be daikon. Helps if you spell it right. Radish. All right. I'm just going to put that right here where I can see it from the edge of my bed. And these guys should be 3 to 12 days for germination. Let's see, 3 to 4 inches apart. And they can get up to 14 inches long, which is pretty amazing. I'm sure they won't in this bed. I don't think they have 14 inches to grow, but that's kind of crazy, huh? I imagine, I don't know if these get really hot. I don't even know. I've just never tried to grow them. All right, so again, 3 to 4 inches apart. And I'll show you what the seeds look like. Oh, goodness. They're just little guys. So we're just going to start at the marker. And the seeds are a little bigger than normal radishes, but I guess that's because they get so big, maybe. All right, so what I'm going to do is just kind of push these down in the soil. And just kind of gently kind of cover. There we go. All right, so that's our first row. That's our daikons. I think I'm only going to do 1 row of each. Put all these back. And one can only eat so many radishes. Now you can do refrigerator pickled radishes, I should say. And they're absolutely delicious. They're very stinky, I will mind you that, but boy, are they good. I tried that last year for the first time. All right, so the next one, I'm just going to put, where's my little marker? There it is. These are the French breakfast. So we've got to, I'm just going to cross this dill off. I don't want to mess with erasing it. Radish, French, I'm going to abbreviate, breakfast. There, that way I'll know exactly what's in there. So I'm going to put this right down in here. And I'm going to do exactly what I just did with the daikons. I'll show you what these seeds look like. These are just ones I get at, I want to say these came from Dollar Tree. Since they're 4 for $1. And you know, I've not had a problem with germination on these seeds. And for 25 cents a packet, you can't go wrong. All right, we got them open. There we go. Now they're about the same size as the daikon, so maybe they're all, I don't know. All right, here they are. Okay, so now I'm going to do, these probably say about the same thing, spacing. It says 2 inches, 1 to 2 inches apart. So I'll put one there. This little pine cone was right in the way. Then we'll have hopefully a nice little crop of radish. And just lightly cover these little fellas up. Oops, a couple there I missed. One there I missed. Okay, so that's all there is to it, guys. And then you want to keep these very well watered. So I will come through here with my little wand sprayer and spray these guys off. So that's all there is to that planting. So now I want to look around and see what there is that I can do maintenance wise and possibly harvest. So come along. All right, so what I do mean by maintenance, I've got these crazy, they still have some blooms here, but that's okay. These crazy, hello, what are these called? Tomatillos. And I want to trim them up. If they have fruits on them, oops, like this one just did, I can save that and put it in a windowsill. And hopefully it'll ripen up. But this way it's not shading everything below right down in here. So I swear my eggplants have grown at least 3 to 6 inches. They're loving whatever's going on that was different before. And I trim off these guys. Maybe this one's going to get the whole branch trimmed. Let me show you what I'm doing. Because there is a little pepper right behind it, and I don't want it to, oh, I forgot I have my little, look at this little guy, my little nasturtium, my one and only. It's growing slowly, but it's growing. So anyways, we've gotten the marigold off of this little shishito pepper bush so it can get more sunlight. This thing is still plenty big. It's going to be just fine. And then if you see any tomato branches that need to be cut, like this whole tomato, oh well, I think it'll be all right. And we'll get some of this off of here. All the stuff towards the bottom needs to be trimmed up just to help prevent disease. All right, so that's kind of done right there. There is this little guy I'm going to cut off. And I'm going to cut some of these off just to keep them out of from shading the rest. All right, so, and lo and behold, by cutting those off, I found a couple of these little tomatillos. Now, if you put these in the windowsill, they will turn all purple. So yeah, those are a good little thing. All right, and we'll continue on. All right, so that's all I had for you folks. I did find a nasturtium on the other side. It's the same variegated one. I trimmed back unfortunately, all my little volunteer tomatillos just because they were shading out my peppers and my eggplants. And that's when I discovered that little nasturtium. So that's exciting. So now I have two. Well, let's see, what else did we do? We trimmed. We picked a couple of tomatillos. We'll put them on the counter. I have a couple cucumbers, but they're not quite ready yet. And then we did get our parsnips and the longer breakfast radish and the daikon radish planted. So I'm very excited about that. I think in another day or two, as things kind of dry out, I am going to dig up my other potatoes. And then I do need to research on my horseradish how long that takes to come to fruition. So I'm kind of excited. I don't want to dig the whole thing up. I kind of want to keep it in there, but I don't know that much about it to even make that type of decision. So I'm going to do some research on that. And that's all I have for you. So I hope the sun is shining where you are. I hope you're happy, healthy, safe. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and subscribing. And God bless you all and happy gardening. Bye bye.